From the View My Sports studios, it's The Breakdown with your hosts, Roger Tillis and Chuck Olesker.
Today's guest on The Breakdown, former boys high school and women's collegiate basketball coach. Welcome, Cole Slate. Hello, welcome to today's edition of The Breakdown, Recruiting Simplified. I'm your host, Roger Tillis. Of course, joined to my right by our illustrious co-host, Chuck Olesker.
That's me.
Always doing well. Chuck, how are you?
Doing well.
You look good. You look good.
I look marvelous.
For a Wednesday, you're doing okay. Hump day and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
We're real excited. We're joined today by a fantastic guy, a guy named Cole Slate. Some of you might know him as Coach Cole Slate. Some of you might know him as Player Cole Slate. And some of you, I can't say what you might refer to him as.
I've been called worse.
Yeah, this is a G-rated show usually, so we're going to try to keep it. Yeah, you have probably been called worse. Now, Cole joins us because of his basketball background as a high school player, as a recruit, as a collegiate coach, as a high school coach, boys, girls. You name it, he's been involved in it. He also had founded an organization that was the key ingredient was about community service. And that was something that I was very interested in because obviously we promote that quite a bit. Community service is no longer just a required amount of hours. For some out there, you still think that's all it is. But I tell you what, if you pay attention and you do it right, it's a great way to pave yourself into a potential recruiting position for a scholarship. So we're going to get into all that kind of stuff. But again, we're real excited. Cole, again, thank you so much for joining us on today's show.
I appreciate the invite. Thanks so much for having me.
Hot dog. See, that's what we like. And I don't know if you notice it. Adjust your TV color, the colors. He's flying the corporate colors, the green and black of ViewMySport.com. Gotta love that. Didn't even have to pay him. Well, we didn't have to pay him much. How about that? Right. All right. Well, now, Cole, we're going to just go ahead and dive right in. First of all, for our audience out there, the View My Sport Nation, we want to make sure that they understand, who you are. Now, again, you played high school basketball, and we were talking about this before the show, and I want him to share with you guys a little bit of this because in Cole's position, as he came in, you can't really tell too much, but he's a big son of a gun. All right, how tall are you, Cole?
6'5".
6'5". He was probably taller than that before he discovered, alcohol and things like that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Yeah. But no, the fact is he was a big guy. He played a lot of basketball. He was the man as a youth player. He was always a big guy. But he experienced what a lot of athletes, not just in basketball, but a lot of athletes in general experienced. He stopped being the man in the middle of his high school career, and everybody started catching up to him. And all of a sudden, the total complexion of his athleticism and his skill set and how he fit into the sport changed. I mean, almost overnight. So that's something that I really want to hear from you. I mean, what was that like? Kind of take us back to middle school and how things were in basketball for you.
All right, like I said, I'm 6'5". When I was going through middle school in 8th grade, I was 6 foot tall, taller than everybody. And
could you dunk yet?
Not in middle school. I couldn't. I think my first dunk was after freshman year of high school or something.
Nice,
but,
nice.
Not bad, but going back to that, I was always taller than everybody. So especially in the sport of basketball, that gives me an edge.
Sure.
And with that height, I'd like to think I was athletic for my height.
Sure.
Had a different kind of skill set. Even though I was just a big guy, I wasn't just down there banging around. Well,
and you weren't just tall like a lot of these lean streamers. What were you weighing back then? I mean, you were 6 foot and what?
Oh, who knows? It was
high hundreds.
Oh, definitely high hundreds.
Yeah,
definitely
yeah. I mean, so you were thick as well.
Yeah, I wasn't one of these tall string bean kids that you see they hit their growth spurt when they were 11 years old and don't know what they're doing. But I just got spoiled with that. I was one of the areas, top middle school players, I guess, go on AAU tournaments. And obviously, colleges can't say anything to you, but, there'd be whispers, oh, Cole, this school was noticed you or something like that.
Sure.
You know, nothing official, anything
But you
like
start feeling like you're the man, like you're the next up and comer, so to speak.
You really do. And I think it just got to my head. And so, when I got to high school, it wasn't all about, just playing ball. I loved basketball because of the game, the camaraderie, being with the teammates, the coaches, everything. And, when it got to high school, it translates a little bit more into an occupation.
Right.
So it's, you're not just on the court, 2 or 3 hours a day. You're also in the weight room for an hour and a half. You might be around the track for 20, 30 minutes,
sure.
Different things like that. And, with, like you said, being the man, when I was younger, I was not wanting to do all that. I was just wanting to, give me the ball and give me the court.
Let's play ball.
And I just wanted to go play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I think that's what happened to me. And, I was one of those kids, being in middle school. Doctor says, Cole, look how big you are. You're going to be 6'7", 6'8".
They try to equate it as they don't realize that you can actually stop growing eventually.
Exactly. And so I was like, man, this is going to be great. I was, a post player anyways, and with my particular skill set, it was just going to, I thought it was going to work
Bill
out
Lambier,
great. Exactly. As a big man, I pass and pick away. That's all I did and rebounded. But just going back to that, it was a kick in the pants when sophomore year came around, and I'm sitting here, 6'4", 6'5", and then senior year comes around, and I'm still sitting there, 6'4", 6'5", and meanwhile, you have all the kids who are my big competitors growing up, they're the ones that are getting to be 6'8", 6'8". Yeah. And, that's what it turned into, and it's a big regret on my part, not being that, nose to the grind, nose to the weight room guy, when I'm in high school. But, that's just something that, as I'm sure we'll get into later, I want to preach to kids now, you live and you learn. And sure. I want to share, what I've learned.
Excellent. Yeah. And it's funny. This is a far-reaching topic because we get into this all the time, and of course we get flooded with emails and phone calls, and when we go on speaking engagements and things like that, we talk to parents and we hear about look at how exceptional my son is, or you go to events and you see everybody doting over the man that's out there or the woman that they're young, they're youthful, and they're phenomenal athletes, and all of a sudden they just feel like that continued success is just going to extrapolate and go up, 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 up. Well, as in Cole's case, as you can see, and as a lot of people out there have already experienced this, and perhaps parents who have more than one child, you've seen it maybe with your older kids who've already gone through the process that maybe they were really good and all of a sudden everybody catches up. It is difficult, I realize, as a parent, it is very difficult to not dote on your child, but you can't be out of hand. You can't get out of control and overplay that. It's great to give them a pat on the back and support them and talk about them, but you don't want to be you don't want to be a braggart. You don't want to put them on too high of a pedestal to the point where maybe they feel like, oh, well, I've done all the work already, so all I have to do is show up. Right. Like Boobie Miles said in Friday Night Lights, I just got to show up.
That's right.
Yeah, that worked out real well for him, Took only one play to change his complexion. So, but that's what we're talking about. Part of what our message is that, keep your feet grounded. Always work hard. Don't ever think you've got it in the bag. Even when you got it in the bag, don't think you got it in the bag, You can sign a national letter of intent and still have the rug pulled out from underneath you. I mean, stay grounded, stay focused, enjoy the game, put in the work, but don't ever think that you have already arrived, because it can change in the drop of a hat. And this is a great message for the young middle school kids who are dominating right now. You better be prepared. Now, can you still dominate all the way up? You betcha. And we've got plenty of examples of that.
Right.
But the norm is, they're going to be coming after you. So you better keep working and keep staying ahead of the curve. Otherwise, you could find yourself at the back of the line and really quick. And if those coaches and everybody who's patting you on the back and paying you all those compliments and wanting to be in your corner, at the AAU tournaments and everything else that you're participating in, tell you what, start being average, and having everybody pass you, and all of a sudden they don't even know who you are. They have very short memories. And Chuck, I know you know that. I mean, we experience that every day. So anyway, great message, great way to kick the show off. That's I mean that's what we want to hear. Now Cole, you even though you were in that position in high school, I mean, you weren't heavily recruited, even though you had been the man, and all these other coaches were whispering about you and all. So you went through your whole high school career, thinking what? I mean, from maybe I can play at the collegiate level. What was your thought, and what did you do, and what ended up happening?
The particular years, I was at Barsham Trail. We're a very strong program, and especially down at my position. We had like Zach Cook, Eric Sorensen, all these guys who were getting heavy collegiate looks, and I'm obviously great friends with them, things like that, and I wish them the best. But I'm like, man, these guys got to be in my position, So, you talk about the catch-up game. I was really trying to play catch-up with them. I was trying to, form my skill set. What do I like about, their particular games? What is it that I can improve on to put myself ahead of them? So, that being said, unfortunately, freshman and sophomore year, I started on JV both years. So that got my competitive juices going even more. But it was fun, during high school. I was, like you said, everyone caught up to me. I was no stud. My senior year, I started, maybe half the season. We were a 500 ball club. Nothing that I'm going around bragging about right now.
Sure, I understand. Yeah, you played though. You were there.
Yeah, I made the team. but you go back and I didn't only just play for school. I was playing AAU ball. I was playing different little city leagues. I was a basketball junkie.
You were getting a lot of court time, which is important though.
Right. Yeah. I was if I had an open night during the week and there was a league open that I could go play, I'd be telling my mom, "Hey, Mom, pay the $50. I want to play in this league." Of course, she's having to drive me around everywhere. But
nice.
It was actually one of those leagues that gave me the opportunity. It was one of the city leagues here in town, and I was playing, got done with the game, and oddly enough, the coach that we had just played against, we beat him. Just had to throw that out there.
Okay.
One of the coaches we played against, he came up to me after the game, and he's like, "Cole, what kind of looks are you getting? Who's interested in you? Things like that." And just like what I just told you, I was like, nobody.
And this is what year of your high school career?
This was my senior year.
So you were a senior. Okay.
Yeah, I was a senior year.
Was the season still going, or was it over?
Going back and thinking of the timeline of the school year, it may have been over.
So you were just banging the boards, playing.
Yeah.
Now well, I'm sorry. You go ahead and continue because I have a couple of questions I want to throw at you about this. That's bouncing around on my noodle here.
The coach came up to me. What kind of looks are you getting? Things like that. And I guess he was a former player or former coach. Something like that down at Florida Christian College. And he told me, he goes, "Cole, I'm going to let the athletic director and the coach know about you. Expect to be getting something." I was like, "All right, I appreciate the opportunity." Things like that. Did not think a thing of it. I probably forgot about it the next morning. Because like you say, I was just trying to play some ball.
Sure.
And sure enough, that spring break came around, and I was on a trip with my friends or something like that, and my mom leaves this voicemail on my cell phone, and she's like, she's a big sport junkie. You got a letter in the mail, just super excited.
Nice.
And, like I said, I wasn't expecting it. So when she told me who it was from, I put two and two together, gave the coach a call and things like that. It's not an opportunity that I took. It was
real small school program. It was Christian college.
Exactly. It was. I considered it greatly because down the road I knew I wanted to end up graduating from UF. I had a whole bunch of family that went there. I just knew that's where I wanted to end. No matter of how I get there, was something else.
Sure.
So I considered it. I gave the coach a call, and I told him what I was trying to do, my goals and things like that. And really all their degree programs there were, towards the church and things like that.
Right,
and,
right.
I have my spirituality and things, but, I wasn't looking to do that for a career or anything after school.
Right.
So, in the nicest way possible, I was like, Coach, I have to decline your offer. I really appreciate, all the effort and everything. And again, he just comes back. He goes, Cole, you want to end up at UF? We'll put you on the business track down here. At,
all of a
Florida
sudden, the salesmanship comes out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's that's kind of that's part of their job. I mean, is to sell the program, the school, and try to get you, under their umbrella. I gotta say, I think a lot of kids get put in this position, and their parents, where this is all I'm getting. I can get a free or at least a partially free paid education. I get to play ball. Mm-hmm. And there comes a point when kids have to make that decision and parents have to make that decision. Do I go wherever just so I can continue playing ball, or do I put the academic aspects and the social aspects of college, my college experience, at the forefront? And for some, they'll go anywhere. Because they want to play ball and they feel that they can take that skill maybe to the level beyond that, and we're not saying which decision is the best, because it's a really from the heart and from the brain decision. The thing that we say is be careful, because as Cole said, Cole put his school ahead because he was thinking beyond the sport of basketball, and a lot of kids out there do that. Here's the thing: for those of you that are all sport driven, you still have to research the schools. You still want to check out the campuses, because you got to go to class. And boy, I feel like I'm just playing the recording every show. Yeah. But this is a point that we have got to continue to hammer home. You have to go to class. You're going to be socializing. You're not going to be playing ball and practicing every single day, all day. There's a scheme at each college campus that you need to find out, do I fit in? Is this somewhere that I can be happy for 4 or 5 years? That's what it comes down to. So you have to take your sport out of the equation and decide. Now, some, again, don't have a choice. It might be the only one they have. It might be the only way you can go to school. Mm-hmm. Well, then you're going to make it the happiest place on earth, because that's the way it is. So, again, you can have some situation like what Cole went through, where he had a choice and he was able to make that choice. And then you're going to have some who don't really have that option, that they're going to have to just take what they get because that's the only way, and they'll make the best of it. And then there's everybody else in between. And man, I tell you what, it's a mess. And you can't pay someone to walk you through that. I don't care how popular an organization is or how much you pay them. It's a personal decision. And Chuck, you've gone through it with your son, and you kind of had that same thing where you guys had some options here and some options there, but the choice of a bigger school and what he could get out of it scholastically and from a future career, he came to that crossroad where he had to make that decision,
right?
And it's worked out pretty darn well, Mike.
Pretty darn well.
So, there is life after sports,
That's right.
But anyway, so that's cool though to hear you share that, because again, some people just don't get it, and you can and we'll sit there and tell you this, Cole will tell you this, and you'll still go, but that's not going to be me. We can only do so much, So, okay, so your playing career from an organized scheme is pretty much done. You go to school. You didn't hang up the shoes. You're still banging. You're still playing because you love the game.
Yep.
But you do pivot into coaching.
I do. And
let's hear about that. How did all that transpire?
Back. We talked about this a little bit before the show too. It's all about who you know and the relationships that you have. I started my college years at Santa Fe before I graduated from University of Florida.
Okay.
And when I got down to Santa Fe...
And Santa Fe being a JUCO, a community college.
Right, down in Gainesville. I started there, and I was still playing as many intramurals as possible. I was playing basketball every time it came around. Football, whatever it was, I was playing as much as possible. And it just so happened that...
And studying hard, right?
Of course.
I'm sure. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to throw that in there.
Santa Fe is no joke. I had to, academically, they keep you in line.
Sure.
But, I was playing as many intramurals as possible, and it just so happened that the head of the intramurals down there was also the head women's basketball coach.
Excellent.
And, I was playing as many of those as possible. I'd be the one putting the teams together. That's just, my personality. I'm trying to, have a good time.
Mr. Organization.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Nice.
I would do that. I did that for, a couple semesters, a year and a half. And I ended up taking this class at Santa Fe called Career Development. Mm-hmm. And we had a project that was, what do you want to do when you graduate from college, and interview someone in that field of your potential career. Well, through the semesters of doing intramural basketball, Coach Stebbins, which was the head coach, we formed a great relationship. And doing that, I was just like, I'll do coaching. It may have been an easy way out on the paper, but don't do that. But it really paid off for me. So I went to her and I was like, Coach Stebbins, I'm doing this paper. We have a great relationship. Do you mind answering some questions for me so I can get this paper done? She's like, sure, no problem. So we get done with the paper, and she looks at me and she goes, Cole, are you interested in coaching at all? She knew my experience as well. Growing up since I got done with 8th grade. I went from being a camper at, all these summer camps to volunteering at the summer camps. So, I love being around the kids, coaching and things like that.
Sure.
So, I was always a camper, the middle school, all the summer camps and things like that. And then when I get too old to be a camper, I go into wanting to volunteer and help coach.
Nice.
Okay?
Nice.
So, of course, this is something that Coach Stebbins knew at Santa Fe. And she goes, Cole, are you interested in being a student assistant on my staff? And I was... I'm sitting here 20 years old. She's offering me a college coaching position.
That's outstanding.
And without even thinking, I was like, hell yeah.
Don't have to ask me twice.
No, yeah, it was just so cool because, the players that she has coming in, I mean, when the season that I coached, our oldest player was 4 months younger than me.
Wow.
And it's just a whole different realm of things, from having to be a authority figure to someone that's your age.
Sure.
Having to represent yourself in separate.
It's a bit of a
challenge.
challenge.
Oh my gosh, it really was.
A, you're coaching women. You're a dude.
Yep.
B, the age aspect. And your experience was.
Oh, I mean, summer camps.
You probably had a big target on the back of your head where you were the guy that was getting smacked with the the ball behind the head and stuff like that.
Luckily, we did have a good group of girls. The year before, when I was playing all those intramurals, I would also come and help them out at practice. If they're about to play some team that had a big post player, I'd come and bang around.
Actually be the scout player. Yeah. Nice.
Stuff like that. So I had a prior relationship with obviously the coaching staff and the girls and things like that. But oddly enough, the year that I coached, of the 12 spots only on the team, I only had a prior relationship with 2 of the girls. And
wait a minute. What do you mean prior relationship? Wait.
Come on, Roger.
What direction are you taking this conversation?
A prior relationship, prior friendship,
a professional and friendly relationship. Okay, all
exactly.
right. Just making sure making sure where we're going. Johnny Manziel. Oh, sorry. Excuse me.
Do I need to do the autograph? So 2 of the 12 girls were, hey, Cole, call me by first name.
Right.
And the other 10 girls who I still had that intimidating factor on them.
Sure.
Call me Coach Slate, all this other stuff, which I didn't mind. I'm 20 years old.
Yeah. Feed the ego a little bit, right?
Yeah. And, that slowly deteriorated. They would listen to everything that I said and implement into their game, which was, great. And that was another part that I loved about coaching. But, it was getting past that age factor, the prior, non-professional relationships of a couple of girls, which, when a couple of the girls have that relationship, the rest of the girls are eventually going to feed off of it.
Right. Sure. And just time. I mean, you become friends. I mean, that's kind of part of that aspect. Now, so totally, how long did you end up coaching
at Santa Fe? I was there for 1 season.
So, okay.
What I did was my last semester at Santa Fe as a student, I only needed 1 class to graduate. And it just so happened to be the season that Coach Stebbins offered me the position.
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
I did that, and then I got accepted to the University of Florida. So being a full-time student at University of Florida and being a full-time college coach, that doesn't really mesh together.
And you could always go back to coaching. So obviously,
Absolutely.
you want to pursue your degree and to be a Florida Gator.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's something that you had always wanted. So
Of course.
very cool. Very cool. Tell you what, we're going to take a quick break, and then because I want to see where the coaching aspect picked up. Because I know that you, once you got out of school, then you pivoted into the high school, and so I'm kind of. We're going to pick your brain a little bit there and hear how that all transpired and worked out for you, and where the future holds. So
we'll see.
Tell you what, give us just a few minutes. We'll be right back. Please tune back in. There are thousands of high school athletes that want to play at the college level. They just don't get noticed. At ViewMySport.com, we get your game out of the shadows and into the college spotlight. It's fast, easy, best of all, it's free. In the time you can text your friends, you can create and send your own athlete profile to as many colleges as you want. Get to the next level. Visit ViewMySport.com today and follow the 3 simple steps. Why wait? Your competition's not. All right, welcome back. I'm Roger Tillis, your host here of this edition of The Breakdown, Recruiting Simplified. And of course, Chuck Olesker, our co-host and engineer, and our special guest coach, sometimes Cole Slate. And again, Cole, thanks a lot for joining us today. This has been a lot of fun, and we're real happy anytime we can bring in a real life individual who's experienced what we preach. So it just kind of validates what we're always yapping about. So before we get started and get back into Cole's phenomenal coaching career. We want to acknowledge our ViewMySport.com Athlete of the Week. Chuck, who's this week's Athlete of the Week?
Once again, we have another outstanding individual, Sabrina Torres. She's a senior now, class of 2014 from Frontier High School in Bakersfield, California. Representing the Titans, she's a midfielder on their soccer team.
West Coast.
West Coast, yeah. And, for our geography lesson, Bakersfield is
here we go.
About 2 hours north of Los Angeles, just off of Interstate 5.
We really got to get you a map so you can point out. It's like we're giving a little geography lesson every time we do this.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right. And so Sabrina is, she's killing it in the classroom as well on the soccer field. She's 3.8 GPA. She's been an honor roll student since the 4th grade.
Nice.
And for fun on the side, she plays the clarinet. And here's a little known fact. I used to play the clarinet as well.
Oh, God. Switch to the saxophone, Sabrina. Switch to the sax.
That's right.
You see where you could end up? You got.
So, anyway, congratulations to Sabrina Torres for being ViewMySport.com's Athlete of the Week.
Hot dog. Great job. Hey, Sabrina. You hear that? That's opportunity knocking.
Right.
You keep those grades going and you keep doing what you're doing. I think we're all going to be able to, watch you play at the collegiate level. Just keep doing what you're doing and don't take average. Don't be satisfied with that. Keep excelling.
Yes.
That's great. I love when we talk about our athletes of the week. I mean, all of our athletes, our student athletes and our members, we're very happy that you're part of the View My Sport Nation and we're able to help you in some small way. But I tell you what, the ones that stand out, God, we love putting the light on you. So thanks again for using ViewMySport.com. And as always, if there's anything we can do for you in your recruiting process, hit contact us on the website, send over your information, and we'll have somebody work with you. Very easily, very quickly. So, there's our little shameless plug. All right. We're going to get back into it. Now, before the break, we were talking about Cole's short but illustrious career as a collegiate coach. But as we stated, Cole, once again, put his future and his academics ahead of, what was happening at the time. He chose to take the career path, if you will, of professional college student going to the University of Florida and putting his coaching career on hold. Of course, then you graduate and you're pursuing things after University of Florida, and then darn if you didn't find yourself right back into coaching only at the high school level. So tell us about that a little bit, and if I'm not mistaken, it was a boys team that you were actually coaching at high school level, so you got to kind of shift gears a little bit. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I come back to the area, moved back into the St. John's area, and a good buddy of mine and a former coach is now running the basketball program at Creekside High School.
Oh, okay. In St. John's, Florida. Go Knights.
Yeah, correct. Jay Cody was the assistant coach of Bartram Trail when I was a player at Bartram Trail. And Adam Holmes, name may sound familiar. He was like 1 or 2 time county player of the year down in St. Johns County.
Nice.
Product of Bartram Trail High School. He was the head assistant down at Creekside.
Uh-huh.
So that, again, we go back to relationships and how important they are, and it's all about who you know. They presented me with the opportunity of being an assistant on their staff. So, you know, like you say, you know, it's shifting gears going from, you know, junior college, you know, girls basketball to, you know, high school boys. And, you know, people really don't understand the difference between the two. You know, they just think, they just don't understand coaching. They're like, basketball is basketball. You know, that, you
different animals, like you said.
You couldn't be more wrong, you know.
Yeah.
The easiest way that I put it is females. Females are relationship driven. You know, if something happened and, you know, something happened during the school day or something like that, and their emotions or their relationships or something went awry, you know, they wear it on their sleeve. You see it in their game, you see it at practice and things like that. So, you know, you're having to tackle that obstacle on the court. And also, you know, when it came to recruiting, the females are more so at the college level. They're going to go to who they have the best relationship with.
Sure.
You know, who they feel the most comfortable with. Because, you know, when being a junior college here, you know, North Central Florida, we're recruiting a girl from, say, the Panhandle.
Right.
You know, who are they going to be most comfortable with going and essentially being their, you know, family away from their family?
Yeah, they're surrogate parents, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, so that's really what's going to drive them is the relationship. While coaching males, they're all about respect, earning respect. You know, you start running a practice. It's the first day of practice that you've never coached them before in your life. Who knows the thoughts that are running through their head? You know, they don't know you from Adam.
Right.
But, you know, once they see you in, you know, certain situations, or maybe it's even, you know, when I was coaching at Creekside, I'd practice a lot with them.
Sure.
So
make that impression. And
getting on the court, you know, practice what you preach, show in your game. You know, it may take a little bit, as relationships do with females, but you know, it's building that respect. They respect you. They're gonna do as much as they can to implement what you're trying to instruct them into their game.
Sure. Now let me ask you. You've done both, collegiate or high school. If you're pursuing a coaching career, just based on your knowledge at this point, what's your druthers?
I would actually have to lean. It's hard. I'd have to lean towards high school, though.
Okay. All right.
College is. It's not a full-time job. It's more than a full-time job. You know.
Yeah, people don't realize that, you know, there is really no off season for coaches.
There
isn't. It's 24/7, 365.
You know, you have your 6 a.m. shoot around, then you have to travel for your 7 o'clock game that night, and then when your 7 o'clock game gets over with at 8:30, you're getting back on the bus, and you're checking out emails and text messages that the girls that you're recruiting are, you know, hey,
always
Coach, how's
recruiting.
It going?
Yeah.
Coach, how's it going? You know, or the players that you had come to the game, or, you know, whatever the case may be. If you're not coaching, you're recruiting.
Sure.
You know, you're
definitely wearing more than
ahead.
one hat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So high school over college, boys versus girls. If you had a choice,
Girls.
Yep.
And I think that's just a personal preference because you know, me, I enjoyed both thoroughly. I wouldn't trade any of it for the world. But the type of person I am, more so, I love being around people. I'm a relationship guy. You know,
very gregarious personality.
While I was assistant coaching the boys at Creekside, I was actually also the head girls coach at Liberty Pines Academy for the middle school girls.
Oh, right, right. That's right. Yeah.
And, you know, that's another animal too.
I was going to say we won't even go there. That's like you said, we could spend a whole show talking about the youth coaching aspects.
Absolutely. You know? But you know, it's those relationships. Like I say, I'm a relationship guy. You know, being with those girls, you know, I'm still keeping in touch with them. right now, whether it's, Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is.
Sure.
I'll get a tweet every now and then, Coach Slate, what's going on?
You just like that coach aspect.
No, you really do. And like, it's because they put you on that pedestal. You've earned that relationship from them. You've earned, that respect. And then just seeing them do so successful, because all the girls that I coached, they were zoned to go from Liberty Pines to Bartram. And so, Bartram Trail High School, also in St. John's, they have a very good girls basketball program.
Right.
And so just seeing them going from our little K through 8, school that no one thought we could do anything, to the program that they have at Bartram is just so awesome.
Watching them blossom.
It is. It's so awesome to see them succeed.
Let me ask you something now. I know now you're a corporate guy. Obviously, I mean, look at the way the guy dresses. He looks like a banker, Coaching on the horizon? I mean, is that something that you want to keep your thumb in the pie, so to speak? Or
I've really messed around with it, but nothing more so than, I'll maybe coach a summer league here and there. Something that'd be like 1 or 2 nights a week during the week, and then a game on Saturday morning.
Kind of a casual career, not a full time.
Exactly, something to keep my foot in the game. To keep having that impact on the players, because whatever the players are, as a coach, there's no better feeling than just pounding something into one of your players at practice, and then a week or 2 later, when that post move comes out, or whatever it was, in youth basketball, they actually use their left hand. When you actually see that happen, they can do it all day at practice, but when it actually gets implemented into their game, there was really no better feeling in the world.
Oh, no doubt. And knowing that you were responsible, for that, that's outstanding, man. Well, I tell you, we're going to shift gears a little bit. Let's, obviously we know your credentials. We know where you came from, what your background was and so forth. Now, I'm curious, as, wear your high school coach's hat for a moment.
Okay.
Regarding the role of the coach and again, we're looking at the high school level. As a high school coach, what do you see your role as for that player, for your players, regarding recruiting?
You're a salesman. You have, these players, whether it be they're a senior for 4 years, they've been in your program, or, whatever the case may be, they've been working their tail off for you. And if they made it through your program from freshman until senior year, I mean, how many student athletes actually are able to do that? I saw, when I was playing at Bartram, I saw so many kids with such good potential freshman year, and I look at the class that came in with me, and there was like 3 of us still in the program.
Yeah.
Wow. So
nice.
You look at that from a coaching standpoint, and like they've devoted essentially 4 years of their life to your program. So you want, nothing but the best for their future. They've invested all that into you. You've invested that into them, but you really want them to blossom and succeed, at the next level. So, could some college come to me and say, hey, what do you think about Joe? How's Joe on your team doing? You're highlighting the positives, and not only the athlete part of Joe, but, what's he doing off the court? You really touched on that a lot today. What's his GPA like? What's his, his program? What's his representation of your basketball program on campus?
Sure. His
How
character.
does he carry himself?
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So, when it would come to, colleges coming and speaking to you like that, you really want to showcase all the positives of your players in order to help them succeed in the future.
Excellent. Now let me ask you, do you see yourself more as, and when I say yourself, meaning the high school coach, as more of a validator of information and promoter, if you will, not so much a true recruiting specialist? Because let's face it, a lot of coaches are coaching, they're teaching, they've got their personal lives. And I ask this for a reason, because I think a lot of athletes, and especially the parents, they label the coaches, hey, you're supposed to be handling the recruiting for my kid. Guess what? That's, that's not necessarily true.
Right.
Your responsibility is to be coaching them, helping them through their high school career. And then if college coaches come and want information, like you said, on Joe or whomever, that you validate it and you put their best foot forward and do everything you can to help promote them towards that program. Realistically, we're not saying inflate stats and say he's a great kid when he's really not, just to get him out of there and to make yourself look good, because that'll come back on you too. You dump a lemon on a college coach and they find out, boy, that you can forget any future aspects. But that's what, we talk about that a lot, and we try to instruct the parents. Don't come in thinking I can sit on my thumbs and coach will take care of it all. From a proactive sense, coaches really shouldn't be held accountable to go out and find college coaches. Now, if you happen to have the buddy that coaches somewhere, you got that relationship and you can make a call or whatever, that's great. And I tell you, it also depends on what is the future in the eyes of the high school coach. Is he trying to get his guys out there because he wants to make himself look good, so he's attractive to college coaches so he can move into a coaching position? You see a lot of that. And so even when you have the coaches that are busting their tail to try to get you out there, you got to kind of make sure that their motives are correct. But I mean, do you agree with that? What's your point as far as the role of the coach in recruiting specifically for these kids? Well, I mean, do you agree with that? Do you think that let's hear your point on that.
I wouldn't. The word you use, validator. I feel like that's more of a coach is just going to sit back, do what he has to do type of thing. A coach calls and he takes phone calls and he distributes letters, things like that. As a coach, I feel like, where I'm not going to be sitting there putting 24/7 efforts into my 5 seniors going on and playing at the next level. You want to put them in the best position to be exposed to that type of potential down the road. You look at summer basketball, go to different cities for different, tournaments on the weekend. You can go to North Florida, stay in Jacksonville for a tournament. You have, what's it called now? Florida State College, UNF, JU, all right here.
Sure.
Go to the Panhandle. You got schools down there. Go down south. And that's 3 weekends out of the summer.
Sure, sure. So you're talking hit these camps, get that. So for you as a coach, if you were writing up your resume, for you personally, I mean, you'd say, okay, well, I'm not just coaching, I'm not just verifying information when college coaches come, but I'm actually pushing them to make sure that they're getting court time outside of my high school season. So you're exposing and educating them on things like, college visits and et cetera, things like that. So we'll say you validate the information for the college coaches that want to know if the kid can dunk or if he can run a certain shuttle speed or what his character is. You'll validate that. You'll verify and confirm. But in addition to that, you're also a recruiting educator, meaning you'll kind of give them those bits of information that will help, as you said, get them proper exposure, et cetera.
I mean, an example right here is, say went down to Gainesville for a tournament. Well, there's Santa Fe College down there now, and University of Florida. Well, while we're down there on this tournament, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, why don't we wake up Saturday morning, go check out Santa Fe's campus, talk to the coaches.
Thank you for saying that.
And Sunday, before we leave town, let's go check out UF's campus.
There you go.
Right. Let's arrange a talk with their coaching staff.
Sound familiar, Chuck?
Oh, absolutely. We preach every day.
Yep, you're exactly. Get the biggest bang for your buck when you go to these tournaments and camps, and we always say, try to get there maybe a day early, stay a day late, and turn it into an unofficial campus visit. You're exactly right. Coming from the horse's mouth. From the mouth, okay? Now,
got to call me a horse? I mean, come on.
Not a horse's ass, just... no, that's excellent. That's I think that's the perfect, as a high school coach, that's the perfect role that you should hold. You can't be held accountable to do all the recruiting, like you said. I mean, it's just too much. And any of you who've been through it, you realize that it's too much. A coach can't possibly do that, or at least do it well. Now, again, connections, call here, call there, whatever the case may be. But to stay in the middle and do it all well, That's outstanding. I think that's what we look at. Now, as far as parents go, and boy, we're not saying there's one path for every single person, but there's a general role that the parents should hold. And that doesn't mean being a parent on the coach's shoulder, just yapping and bitching the whole time. What do you see being the perfect role of the parent regarding their kids and recruiting, getting them prepped for college and recruiting and going through that process?
The best role parents can play for a recruiting prospect would be a supporter. You're there for guidance. You're there for your experience. Mm-hmm. What have you gone through? And, you get a couple of letters in the mail when you come home from school on Friday, sit down with your kids. All right, well, let's weigh out the pros and cons.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. What would be the positives of going to West Virginia, mm-hmm. and mm-hmm. what would be the negatives?
Sure.
You think about that. You be an open ear. You provide your experience, your suggestions, things like that. And, beyond that, it's helping. It's helping support with, camps that they're going to, mm-hmm. teams that they play on. Parents can do a little bit of research too.
Sure.
If I don't have any kids or anything, but my son comes home, he's like, Dad, I want to jump on Coach Smith's team with my buddy Joe. I don't know anything about Coach Smith.
Sure.
I don't know anything about what kind of program he's running. I don't know how he represents himself. Mm-hmm. I don't know anything mm-hmm. like that. Parents, do your research.
Right. Yes. Yes.
That's an AAU example. Go talk to, your son's high school coach. Mm-hmm. Say, hey, do you know about this Coach Smith that my son's trying to play on? What's your opinion of him? Things like that.
Don't just assume. That's for sure.
Exactly. It's supporting. It's doing your research, and just doing your best to put your student athlete in the best possible position, mm-hmm. Exactly. But not only for them individually, but for your family as well.
Right. And to help, prep them, prepare them for when they are going to talk to the coaches. What do you say? What are the questions that we need to find out?
How do you carry yourself?
Like that. Exactly. Grammar. Mm-hmm. Every little thing. That's their job. Manage them. Don't do the work. Don't entitle them. Don't do the work for them. Help them do the work themselves, but to the best of their ability. Mm-hmm. Outstanding. Yeah. Excellent advice from the man himself, Coach Cole Slate. We'll just call him Coach. Hey, we're going to take another break, and then when we get back, we're going to dive in a little bit deeper, pick a few things, talk about the student-athlete themselves, what their role is in the recruiting process, and have a little bit more fun. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Are you a high school athlete, parent of a high school athlete, maybe a high school coach or a college coach looking for a high school athlete, or just a fan of high school and college sports? Then you need the ViewRecruit mobile recruiting app. It's got everything. Athletes can create profiles, including their highlight videos. They can use the Recruit Network to send their profiles directly to college coaches. If a coach likes your profile, great. You get a notice directly on your mobile device and receive an email to boot. College coaches can receive updates directly on their devices and use the search function to find the talent that fits their program. Whether you're an athlete or a college coach, it's like having your very own recruiting department right at your fingertips. Download the ViewRecruit app now on iTunes for your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch. Be part of the #1 high school athletics and college coaching network. Get it today, the ViewRecruit mobile recruiting app. All right, and we're back. Thanks for tuning back in here to the Breakdown, Recruiting Simplified, or at least as simple as we can make it. Of course, I'm here joined with our co-host, Chuck Olesker, and our very special guest today, Cole Slate, high school player, high school coach, collegiate coach, entrepreneur, community advocate.
Yep.
He carries a lot of titles, but all of the information that he's sharing today has been fantastic stuff. And we're going to dive right back into it because we've got some more things that we want to cover, some things that I think you should be making notes on out there, parents, athletes, some coaches. If you pick up some tips that you find will be helpful for your program, please use them. That's what we're here for. All right, in our last segment, we were talking about the roles of, the coach and the roles of the parents and the recruiting process, things like that. I think that everybody has a different opinion regarding that. Well, we happen to know what works, so we've tried to express that to you and share information, and of course, let Cole weigh in on what he sees working, while he's been out there. So let's pick up where we left off. Now, the role of the student athlete themselves, as far as the recruiting process goes, what is their role and responsibilities in your opinion?
Just like the title says in itself, Roger, it's student athlete. Mm-hmm. What comes first? Student.
Bingo.
Student. You're keeping your GPA up. That's one of the biggest things you highlight. When I follow y'all, on Facebook, Twitter, and things like that, and when the ViewMySport.com Athlete of the Week comes around, usually the first thing that's noted is the GPA.
Right.
So it's all about what kind of student you are. You're not a good student, you're not going to keep your grades up. If you don't have your grades, you can't play.
Yeah. Right.
It's in the rules.
I was going to say, not our opinion, that's fact.
Right, yeah.
That's fact.
Yep, exactly. So, it's keeping your grades up. And it's how you carry yourself. How do you represent yourself? How do you represent your program or the sport that you play? Going around campus, are you a leader on campus? It's so much of that goes into the recruiting process. Everyone's an athlete now. Everyone has a jump shot. And everyone can dunk.
Sure.
Even if they
Chuck,
they say they can, but
Chuck needs one of those little round trampolines that the cheerleaders use, but
and I do mine underhanded.
So we'll get Chuck one of those. But it all comes down to how you represent yourself, because the college coaches, or if you're trying out for a high school team, the high school coaches are going to be looking at how are you going to represent that program.
Sure.
So many people are going to look at you and be like, that's Coach Slate's player out there again. Mm-hmm. Whether it's good or bad, their eyes go back to the coach and the program. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you're wanting to do that as best as you can. All around campus, on the court, even when you think nobody's looking.
Well, what do they say? Character is what you're doing when nobody's looking.
Yep, yeah, right. You're absolutely right.
Well, and I like when you're talking about the leader, and you don't have to be designated the leader or the captain.
Lead by example.
To carry yourself like a leader. Doesn't mean bossing people around telling them what to do. Lead by example. That's exactly right. Now let me ask you though, from a more recruiting responsibility, perspective, as far as what they're doing to market themselves, because again, I think a lot of parents and a lot of the student athletes say, I just got to show up. And the coach will take care of me. I mean, what do you see their responsibility? I mean, what should they be doing? I mean, as far as their recruiting goes, being proactive, calling coaches, sending their information, keeping their profiles up to date. I mean, in your opinion, I mean, what is their focus? What should they be, held accountable for?
From a player's perspective, going back, many moons ago when I was a player, there weren't nearly the resources that the student athletes have today. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If I had the ability to upload, a couple of my best games, upload it to ViewMySport.com and send it to some coaches that I've been speaking with, I promise I would have had more than one tiny school offering, offer me an opportunity.
Sure, you would have had some schools knocking on your door because
exactly because of the exposure,
you made the relationship.
Exactly. And so much of that goes onto the student athlete's shoulders. Mm-hmm. You want to go play college ball, don't sit back and wait on a knock on the door or a letter in the mail or email or whatever they're using now, a tweet, whatever.
Yeah.
Do it yourself. You want to get out there, you want to play college ball, show it.
There you go. And pretty simple message, pretty clear. Mm-hmm. And how you do it, well, that's why there's, things like the tools that View My Sport offers. So you can do it. We're not going to do it for you. We don't want your money for us to pick up a telephone and make phone calls. Plus, the coaches don't want to talk to us. They don't want to talk to reps and scouts and all that. Who they want to talk to is the athlete. kind of goes back to the representation of the program and things like that.
Absolutely.
And that's the type of thing. And like we always say, early and often. There is no such thing as too early. We have kids that are in grade school that send their profiles to coaches saying, Coach, one day you're going to see me at your camp. One day you're going to see me on your roster. One day I'm coming to play for you. Yeah. Now they may end up going to a totally different school, but the fact that they have that attitude and that they're already forming relationships. We've got, I can't tell you how many examples where young kids started using ViewMySport.com, for example, at the beginning when we first, back in 2007, who are now in high school, and they're still communicating with some of those coaches that they got, media guides from and posters and all that kind of stuff because they weren't being really recruited back then. It was more relationship building. So it works. So, but yeah, that's definitely on the shoulders of I tell you what, if I'm a kid and I'm really wanting to play collegiate ball, I don't want anybody else to allegedly be doing it for me because I want the control. I want to know that, no, if you say you're talking to coach, well, if I talk to him, then I know he's being talked to. And if you need the help and the preparation, that's where your parents come in. That's where we come in. You need assistance. That's what we're here for. So good points. All good points, Cole. Thank you. As far as and we'll have you put on your high school coaching hat again. As far as what the players should be promoting, what is their number one thing that how they should be governing themselves as high school players?
Well-roundedness. They're not. You're not just recruiting the athlete anymore. Mm-hmm. You're recruiting the person. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So many eyes are out there. There's you're a college athlete. You're in the spotlight.
You're a role model whether you want it or not.
Exactly. Whether you want to be or not. And it's all about how you embrace that spotlight. Mm-hmm. So, colleges are going to be looking at you, how is that person going to represent my program and me? Mm-hmm. Walking around, whatever city it is, Gainesville, sure. whatever the case may be. So, show your well-roundedness, when you're not on the court, have your nose in the books, mm-hmm. be volunteering, run for class president. I mean, what could be better than that?
Sure.
That shows everything. It's showing your leadership, your character, different attributes that coaches are going to embrace.
Well, and I tell you, they really are looking at the person, mm-hmm. like you said, and we've said time and time again. Everybody's a good athlete. Everybody can do a lot of these things. It's got to be grades, and it's got to be your character. It's got to be, what type of person you are. Boy, they really look at that closely now. They don't have to be psychiatrists to figure it out. I mean, they're looking at your examples. And I tell you what, you can't just tell a coach, oh, well, I do this and I do that. And you got to prove it. You got to show what you're doing. And again, as we said in the past, from a community service standpoint, get involved. Don't just, put in hours at the YMCA because it's easy. Showing up at your high school coach's camp. Yeah, okay, they might give you hours for that. Great, okay. We're talking about something that will actually help you in the future, help you communicate, or your communication skills, help you make connections with people that, exposure to particular career paths that you may have not known about, things that might interest you now in high school, and you say, wow, I'm going to pursue that when I get into college. I'm going to see what more there is about that particular aspect. That sounds like something I might want to get into outside of sports. So again, there's a lot of that. So definitely reel that in, and like Cole said, be well-rounded. Don't just be the one-trick pony, be the athlete. Be it all. Let's say you're a college coach and you're looking at the recruits. 3 things right off the top of your head that that you're going to be looking for right off the bat.
All right, the first one don't really need to go into because we've talked so much about it today on the show, and that's
saying we're beating a dead horse. No.
Well, sometimes some of the stuff really is, but with the students and parents and coaches, whatever the case may be, it's just reiterating.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get this point across, and it's brings up the first point of representation. How do you represent yourself? How do you carry yourself? Yep. Your program, your coach, whatever the case may be. How is it that they're being seen in how you are presenting yourself to everybody else.
Right.
So I don't really need to go too much more into that.
Sure. But a good point. You're right.
The next one is what kind of teammate are you? You know, are you going to be the teammate that someone misses a layup and you're in their face, you know, yelling at them, angry,
beating them down?
Exactly. Why'd you do that? You know, all this other stuff. Or are you going to lift them up? You know, strong move to the basket. Great job. You'll finish it next time.
There you go.
You know, nothing's more important in sports than confidence. If you're confident in your game, then you're going to get out there and you're going to succeed.
Sure.
So be that teammate that brings out the confidence. You missed, you know, you have a wide open shot to air ball, you know, that stinks, but you know what? It was a wide open shot, good shot selection.
Recognize to take it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, bring it up, lift up that player, and, you know, the next one they'll make it. You know, whatever the case may be, be that uplifting leader and teammate. And the third one really comes down to hustle and heart.
Nice.
You know, are you in practice? Are you, you know, sometimes I know when I was in school, a term we would throw around would be like the practice all-star.
Yeah.
You know, there's always, you know, a few of those on each team that it could be the silliest drill in the world. That the ball's rolling out of bounds. They're beelining it over there. They're diving on the ground. You know, whether it's the first drill at practice 5:30 Monday morning, or is it Friday night, fourth quarter, whatever the case may be, they're going same speed. That's 100%.
Nice.
They don't know any other speed.
Nice. Yep.
That's showing their hustle. It's showing their heart, and it's showing their effort. And that's what coaches love to see.
Well, I tell you, recognition of opportunity. That's the way I always looked at it, as an opportunity to shine. Because you never know who's looking. And what do they say? Play like you practice. And of course you also hear, oh, well, he's a gamer. You know, he doesn't do too well in camps, but when the lights come on, that's crap in my opinion. I want to see you game in it all the time. And and I tell you, to touch base on something you brought up about the confidence factor. You can take an average athlete that will do something extraordinary and get that recognition. All of a sudden they go from just being the average guy coming off the bench to a starter, because it's in here. A lot of times you got to get out of your own way. And that confidence can really, really help. And you know, reiterating it. On the flip side, you can have a kid that was confident, pretty good athlete. If he's getting beaten down, you know, by his coach or players, all of a sudden that star becomes, you know, a burned out star. All of a sudden he's on the bench. It's a big psyche thing. So that's a great points to bring up. This is something that I'm kind of curious to see your take on. You know, in this world of entitlement that we're all into, and in glory, and I'm going to stop saying the four letters of a particular sports because I don't want. I mean, I'm not picking on them. It's kind of like when you refer to a refrigerator. You know, from the old days, you just say Frigidaire. Frigidaire. Well, that's a name brand. It's not an item. You know. Well, so I say ESPN a lot because it's, you know, it's always on TV. But now there's Fox Sports and CBS. So I'll just say, you know, the media. You know, a lot of these kids are looking, you know, at their decisions, and what excites them is, you know, glory days, and I'm going to be on Madden, and I'm going to do this, and I'm, you know, and the problem, and that's great. We all dream. You know, I wanted to be an astronaut. Well, that didn't that didn't pan out too well. Actually, hell, I didn't even know what an astronaut did when I was a kid. You know, I just saw them floating around. I thought that was cool. But no, my point is, it's great to dream, and it's great to, you know, have those lofty goals like that, you know. But realistically, when it comes down to making a choice, you can't just let glory and whether or not I'm going to be on TV be your deciding factor. And you know this, you know, anybody who's attached to social media sees a lot of this, you know, the kids taking the pictures of the money, and the kids taking the picture of, you know, the swag and all the. I tell you what, man. You can't make your decision on college on whether or not you're going to be on TV or not, or in the limelight. Because if that's all you're basing it on, you're going to have a rude awakening. Now, again, yes, there are those blue chip players and athletes that their statistics and grades and everything speak for themselves. They're in that top, you know, that top quarter percentile that all the Division I big time programs are going after. Thing is, there's a lot of that type of talent out there. Even those guys don't all get to go play D1. You can't take them all, and there's a lot of them out there. But these kids though that want to make their decision based on no, I'm either playing for Alabama or nowhere. Well, okay, that's cool. But what if you don't get picked to play the sport that you want at Alabama? So is Alabama still appealing because of their what you can major in, or what their campus is like, or what their class size is like? I mean, you have to think about this stuff. You can't just base it off of the glory aspect. And I've had some kids say, well, I'll take a Division II or an NAIA because I want to play. Mm-hmm. I've had some kids say, well, I know I can get a scholarship, but I'm probably going to ride the bench at XYZ University. If I bump down one, I'll still get a scholarship, but I get to play and hone my skill and maybe grow and then maybe actually make it into the professional arena, depending on what my sport is or whatever the case may be. So there's kind of two sides. There's the glory hounds, and then there's those that they just want to play, man. Mm-hmm. Put me in, coach. What, with all that happening, I mean, what's your take on all that?
As far as the glory hounds go, there's so many kids, especially right now, like you said, with the outlets like social media, YouTube, Twitter, whatever the case may be, they're highlighting things like, oh man, I had a sweet dunk last game, or this block shot went into the 5th row, whatever the case may be, that's all and great, but you had one block shot, congratulations. How many points did the guy you're guarding score that game? Let your game do the talking. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be out there, exposing yourself in that manner.
Yeah, showboating.
Exactly. Yeah. Look at this great block. Well, yeah, he dropped 25 points on you and had 10 boards.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You have that block shot.
Yeah. Looks good on YouTube.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, same thing, with dunking the ball. Last time I checked, you don't get any more points for dunking the ball than you do a layup.
Yeah, but if you can get more views than the cute kitten playing the piano, man, that's awesome.
I mean, the kitten's pretty cute, so I might go with the kitten. But, I mean, you really see, what I'm saying. You want to be recognized for the right reasons. Mm-hmm. I'd rather be recognized for shutting down the guy I'm guarding. I'm guarding the state's best player.
Sure.
He only scores 10 points on a sad game and only gets 4 boards.
Sure.
I'd rather shut him down than have a great dunk, he and his team wins the game.
Right.
Why is it, in what context are you, gathering this attention? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Let your game do the talking.
Sure. And from an overall recruiting perspective, I mean, I mean, you've come across this, I'm sure, because of these kids, I mean, they're shutting down a lot of opportunity. Mm-hmm. They've got the blinders on. I mean, really, knowing what you know now, think of the decisions you would have made. Well, you already said one. Like if ViewMySport.com would have been around at that time, you would have been more proactive. You would have made more connections.
Absolutely.
You wouldn't have had to be the diamond in the rough discovered at a scrap game from a coach and have the one offer. You would have probably had more offers. Maybe not Division I, but maybe not just one. Small. Religious school. You had the potential to maybe get maybe some NAI rides with good grades, a full ride, whatever, and get playing time on that collegiate show. Now, does that appeal to you more, or is it I want to play for University of Florida. I want to bang with Haslam, those guys. I mean, you know what I mean, because there is a lot of that difference. Those the guys that just want the glory versus the guys that really want to play.
It's there's a fine line between having those dreams, and what your realistic dreams and potential are. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants to go to a top tier school in their sport.
Sure.
Everyone wants to do that. But, is that realistic?
Right.
What you want to do, obviously I didn't go play any sport in college, but, you take your situation and you make the best of it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Do you have the ability to go, ride the bench at UF? All right. Say you have that ability. You're going to ride the bench, or you're going to ride the bench, or you're going to bust your butt. Someone gets hurt and you're up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, take your opportunity.
It's all about your particular situation, your particular scenario, and then taking advantage of it to the best that you can. Mm-hmm. Riding the bench at UF and then waiting for your spot, or I'll go to a smaller school, get a bunch of PT,
sure.
Play, have a good time, get a good education. it's all about what you want to do, and that just goes all the way back to what we talked about, earlier. What's best for you and what's best for your family.
There you go. There you go. Excellent.
Good point.
And just to reiterate the fact that there is no one scheme for everybody to follow. I mean, it is really a personal decision, and that's why we say you, parents and athletes, you are the ones that need to really research and break this down and talk about it. Don't wait for someone to hold your hand and walk you through it, and because, the end result could end up being nothing, and it's not satisfying. Me personally, man, just a play. I'll pay to play. I mean, and we've talked about this before in the past. Like even with football, once they start knocking you out and putting you on the ground, Division I or JUCO, it don't matter, man. Right. Busting someone's ass is busting someone's ass. Yep. So getting out there and competing, and that's the thing. Some people want look at me. I'm on, I play for University of Florida. Of course, you'll only see me on the scout team, as opposed to, you never heard of me? Oh, well, I'm a starter at, Little Joe's College in Texas or whatever. Again, do you want to be the athlete or do you just want to have cool postings on Facebook? Figure it out fast. Mm-hmm. As far as the youth and middle school players, these young kids coming up through the little Y leagues and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously they have their sights set on high school the way high school kids have their sights set on college. What's a good bit of advice for these kids and parents who, and I think we've already touched base on one of them as far as be realistic, don't shut down just because your kid's dominating because catch-up's around the corner,
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, beyond that, I mean, what's a good bit of advice for these kids that are getting ready to enter into the high school, rings?
At that age group and experience level, I would really say focus on fundamentals. Mm-hmm. You got your proper fundamentals, your proper techniques. You're working at this age to get rid of bad habits that you have. Correct shooting technique versus you said Roger had an underhand shot, or was it you?
But it went in.
All right. Hey, that's all that matters. 2 points, right?
That's right.
It's getting rid of that underhand shot and proper technique. Keeping the elbow and follow through. Things like that. Left hand layup, right hand layup. Dribbling, just the whole thing. It's focusing on those fundamentals. So, the high school coaches, they don't have to waste their time on that.
Yeah, they don't want to teach you from where to go.
That's exactly
unless you come in as a freshman and you're like 6'10".
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, they don't want to waste time on teaching you. Oh, I got to teach this kid. He'd be on varsity if he knew how to make a left-hand layup. Mm-hmm, They're spending time on teaching you their offense, their schemes,
right?
How to run their team, and so really focus on fundamentals. Be that blank canvas that really every high school coach dreams of.
Sure.
And let them mold you to what they need.
Excellent. Good point. Yep. Good information. I tell you, fundamentals and fun.
Yep.
Keep it fun. I went over to one of the little baseball fields and I was watching a practice, and of course all these kids are out there and they look like little miniature Jeters. They all just the gear and the black but a lot, and it's all like serious. It's like they mimic these guys that they see on TV. The same way with the little league football players, beating their chest and they score, and instead of celebrating with their team, they run off and they're looking at the crowd beating their chest, and they're trying to distance themselves away. And I'm just thinking, man, a coach or a parent or both need to get a hold of that kid and set him straight. That's not the way you want to do it, and especially in the youth leagues, you got to have fun. Hey, kid, smile. You don't smile, you're not playing. Get out of here. But you look at some of the coaches, and all you hear is rah, 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 and they're governing and coaching that team that way. It's like, come on, man. Yeah. You had your day. You had your time in the limelight. Now teach the kids right or get out. Yeah. But you got to keep it fun. Man, nothing was more fun than knocking the piss out of somebody playing ball or driving on them. You can still perform at optimum level and smile. Right. But it's almost like you got to be a thug or a brute to be in sports. You don't. Have fun and instill that in the kids, definitely. Highlight videos. We talk a lot about highlight videos. Hold on a second.
We got 2 minutes before he has to leave.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we only have 2 questions left. I mean, I can be late.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know. I just if we're on.
Oh, I thought you wanted us to take another break. And
No.
I thought we were going to roll through.
Yeah, we are. I'm just trying to
let's
speed that up.
Kind of expectation that you would for players in there. Okay, we don't need to worry about that one because we already covered that. So this will be the last one.
Okay.
All right. Well, all right. Let me ask you something regarding highlight video. Of course, highlight video is all the buzz. For some sports, for some, it's not even needed. Mm-hmm. Either you run fast or you don't. I don't think they care if you run on your hands as long as you get across the finish line before somebody. But things like basketball, football, certain sports where there really is a mechanics aspect, a transition, soccer, lacrosse, where you're transitioning from offense to defense and things like that. Again, we hear so much about the highlight video, and of course, the biggest thing is you pull up highlight video and you see all of the best moments, all the dunks, all the shots going. You don't see transition. You don't see, what happened when the kid just got his tail handed to him because he's now on the floor and the guy just dunked on him. How does he respond? Now, we know that college coaches, they'll request, if they're hooked, if they like a little bit of what they see or what they read on your profile, they like your physical, prowess, your height and weight and things like that. They're going to request full game films from your school and from your athletic department because they do want to see. They want to see what did you do on the bench when your guy just blew the last point. They want to see, are you chewing them out or are you picking them up? They want to see all those kinds of things. So now, granted, the highlight videos, I mean, again, they're important, but show some transition. I think, and I wanted to get your opinion on that because, again, all of them can be awesome. I mean, I could probably put a highlight video together, and you'd think that I was, I was in, LeBron James quality.
If you not get carried away.
All right, okay, all right, maybe.
You can only see so many underhand shots, though, Roger.
See Bob Cousy's.
That's right.
Thanks. Okay, well, I think the point is, anyway, that you have to be a little realistic with your highlight video. All right, you have to make sure that show some transition, show some show you over on the sideline in the huddle, jacking everybody up and getting fired up. Show a little bit of different stuff in your video. All it's supposed to do is get a coach hooked and interested. All right, they're not going to base a decision on whether or not they're going to give you a scholarship or even consider you as a prospect based on solely what's on that highlight video. They don't want music. They hate that, so they mute virtually every highlight video. I mean, these are all the things that we've shared in the past. I mean, try to make it realistic from what you know and from your experience. I mean, anything unique to add regarding highlight video for the kids out there?
As soon as you mentioned highlight video, in the question, that's the first thing I thought of was edit minimal. You don't want to be in there cutting out timeouts, cutting out plays, different things like that. Show what you're doing the whole game.
Yeah.
Whole game. I mean, we want to see more than your 63-yard touchdown catch.
Right.
Or
maybe three, because we understand. I mean, the coaches can't they can't sit there and watch a whole 2 hour.
Right.
But maybe 3-4 minutes of good transition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do something like that. And, a lot of players out there, too, they're just going to send, their best game. Well, their best game is probably going to be against the worst team.
Sure,
right.
Send what you're doing against the most college-ready competition. The team you're playing against has two kids on scholarship.
Sure.
You're playing basketball.
Here's how I D'd up against the D1 commitment going to, DePaul or whatever,
The keyword you said was transition. How's it going to transition? Well, here's my skills coach on how my defense is going to transition because I just D'd up this kid that's going to be going to University of Miami, whatever the case may be.
Right.
Paint that picture for the coaches as easy as possible. Don't just throw together some highlight tape of windmill dunks or whatever the case may be.
Right. You working out, bouncing balls off the ceiling into the hoops.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great if you want to be a mascot.
Exactly.
All right, and one last thing as far as the highlights go, keep the time down. Keep the time down. Again, just a few minutes. is about all a coach can watch, and make yourself identifiable. I can't tell you how many highlights I've gone on to profiles and looked at, and it took me 5 minutes to finally figure out, oh, that's the kid, that I'm supposed to be watching. Remember, basketball, soccer, any of these, team sports, everybody's running up and down. Have it circled or have you glow or highlight it. Or don't just say, oh, I'm number 8. Well, on a lot of those videos, you can't read the numbers because everybody's moving. Even with glasses, man, I'm blind as a bat. I can't see squat. Help the coach help you. Help the coach see you, so define it. If you don't have special, software to do this, whoever you're getting to set that up, make that the thing. Leave the music off, but identify me during the video, period. Doesn't have to be technical. So, I tell you what, man, we've talked about a lot. The show's burned by quick, and some of these topics we could probably have, a week's worth of shows just on that topic. But we're here to give you kind of high-level dusting, if you will, of certain information that's going to be extremely helpful for you during your recruiting process. That's why we bring experts like Cole in here, so he can share his wisdom. Anybody can come in as an expert. We want real-life people who have actually experienced it and understand what it is from the different levels. And Cole, again, we thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
It's been great.
Yeah, yes, so use this for what it's intended. Use it as a learning tool. Rewind it, go back, watch different segments. If there's something you don't understand, you want clarification on, or you have a unique situation that you just want to see, if we can help you through your part of the recruiting process. Again, go to viewmysport.com, click on the Contact Us in the menu, fire your questions over, whatever your situation is that you need help. That's what we're here for. We have a great stable of advisors. You don't rely on myself and guys like Chuck to have all the answers. We have a lot of the answers. Don't rely on all of the answers. But needless to say, we have the resources to get what you need. So anyway, that's it. From all of us here at the Breakdown, Recruiting Simplified, please enjoy your sport. Keep kicking it in the classroom, in the community, and always remember to enjoy the ride.